Welcome, everyone, to the ExecuBalance podcast, where we dive into what it looks like to have balance in our professional and personal pursuits. I'm Chad Crow. I'll be your host for this episode. I'm also the CEO of Techwit Digital and father to 4, husband to 1, so I know what it's like to have a crazy schedule and struggle to find balance. Before we begin today's episode, I want to invite you to help us continue the conversation by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We look forward to connecting and having deeper conversations so that we all can grow together and continue this podcast. So please connect with us there, as well as make sure to visit our website at ExecuBalance.com. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Kera. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm excited to be here this morning. Happy Friday.
I know today, man. And it's early too. So thank you so much for taking your time out to join us. I do appreciate it.
No worries. And to your point, I thought it was 10:30 and I was like, it's 10.
Oh, good. So a good way I like to start off is I want people to get to know you and the things that you're balancing right now, so that we can kind of start to dig into those and understand better, and hopefully learn from your experiences. So to start off, can you kind of run through some of the roles that you're balancing right now in life?
Oh, absolutely. Mommy first. We have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so mommy, I'm a wife. In addition, I have my own agency, full service digital agency, and then clients. So I feel like I'm managing up more children, but amazing.
Clients, employees, they're all children.
All of us are little kids and big bodies. And so, with those 3 big roles, and then you have the sub roles, but they're just as impactful. I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, a mentor, so many things.
Oh my God, something you just said. I'm a daughter. I think so many people oversee that role in their life when they get to be, our age, or they start to have kids. They forget that they're somebody's daughter, and because you're somebody's daughter, you have things you should do to fulfill that role and make sure that you're getting fulfillment and that other people are getting fulfillment out of that role as well. Is that a role you typically think of? Like, what is involved in that role?
And to your point, even sitting in that space where I'm just really internalizing what it means. It means as a mom and then a daughter, I get to give my mother, who's my only living parent, some of the patience she gave me, and I have to be an ear to her. You know what I mean? And I've got to be, I get to be. And so sometimes as I'm getting a little older, I marinate on that. And whatever I feel like I got going on, I can hear in her heart, she needs to talk, I listen. And that feels good to be able to listen to her. So. And
those are things you're going to hold on to forever. Mm-hmm. My father actually passed away 2 years ago, and it was extremely hard for me. Sorry. And it throws balance out the wall. And if you haven't thought of that role and you haven't thought of that time before it's too late, it'll just be a piece that will always be missing, and your balance will have to be learning to live without that piece. So I love that you're intentional about thinking about it right now when it matters most. That's awesome.
But to your point, the balance comes, okay, maybe I can't take her call right now because I know she'll need more time. Let me call her when I can give her that time.
Yeah, perfect.
You know what I mean? Little things like that.
Awesome. So mother, right? I think I'm a father. We've got kids, and we are in the same school district.
Oh, yeah.
Balancing the role of teacher too sometimes right now. Talk to me a little bit about what it means as your role as a mother, especially right now in the pandemic. How has that role expanded?
I'm so glad you say that, because of the balance or just having to be resilient in these last few years, you just internalize and you just go. But that one, it just woke me up. Number one, your children, you don't know them. I don't know. My kids have these pseudo personalities, and they are one way with me, another way a teacher, another way with their dad. And learning is so crucial. And those the foundation, I have to maintain that. And it has stretched me in a way. First of all, I'm not the best math teacher. That's my husband. But it just requires just a different level of respect for the game and timing, respect to the teachers who do this so well. But I've had to really just get to know my kids and be patient, and then be patient in a much different way. Learning is so delicate. So, yeah.
Well, how else has things changed for you? With the pandemic, I know your husband has a pretty significant role.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what does he do?
Yeah, so my husband is a special agent, and he has this crazy, amazing, like G.I. Joe kind of thing, and it's cute to watch him get ready.
We can't talk about what he does.
Well, right, and sometimes I forget, like, he is a whole agent, like, and that's kind of like a big deal, you know. I want him to, like, wash the dishes and like normal and all that, and he's supposed to, and he will, but in terms of the hierarchy of what he's doing to help change the pace of the world, I'm like, wow. But that's balance, and thinking of some things that we do to balance our crazy lives. And I hate to say that what he has going on takes more of a priority, but in the scheme of life, he's helping to
keep America safe. I think I'm glad that's a big priority.
It's this daily intentional work, and I'm helping people achieve their dreams online. But it's a different level, right? So knowing that and taking almost a back seat more than normal sometimes can get a little, it can weigh on you if you let it. But the balance that we've started when we had kids, like, now that we're having this conversation, and I kind of take it for granted, is for about 8 years, we've maintained who we are by balancing our schedule. So a couple times a week, Monday and Wednesday, after work, dinner's ready or whatever the case, and he takes the kids, he does homework, he bathes and puts down. I'm free to roam the world.
Those are the girls' nights out,
Right. Girls' nights, gym nights, dinner nights,
Nice.
whatever I feel like I need for my joy and my peace to stay balanced. And he does martial arts and things that he enjoys doing on Tuesday, Thursdays.
Of course he does martial arts.
Right?
Dude,
he fights bad guys for a living. So, add that to his repertoire. But
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are very intentional with giving each other the space you need for your personal life. Because, man, we talked to a guy recently on the podcast. He has a book called Irrational Kindness. I'm going to give you a copy after this. I think it's a great book. One of the major themes in there is that a well-lived life starts with kindness, and kindness starts with kindness to yourself. He talks a lot about how to be kind to yourself, and you're talking about, that's what I feel like you're talking about, is like your husband and you come together and just are very intentional with keeping time for you guys to be kind to yourself. I love that.
Say that so much. And to your point, we obviously have friends, married couples, single friends. And once the children layer in, if you don't make that time, you can wake up 4 years from now and then hoping someone's there to be that friend to you, And so I take it for granted, but it has been a fundamental part of our lifestyle. And we, so much so that if, things come up, obviously, but unless you're in town and, and we won't see you or get another chance for a year or two, that's our safe space. I don't plan on things on his Thursday. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's his time. So
do you mark it on your calendars? Like this, hold this spot, like for, this is kid time for me, and
we do.
Okay.
It's ingrained.
Oh yeah.
It's ingrained.
It's a practice now. Like it's a habit.
It is.
It's a habit.
To your point, even once, every once in a while you try different things. I tried to take my daughter to gymnastics on a Monday, which is my joy day, right? Mm-hmm. And it started impacting my lifestyle, even hers. I don't want to rush her on a class.
Yeah.
And then she's rushing to get changed, and, she doesn't get to, like, really experience her time. So I took her off my day.
Sorry.
But, and to that point, believe it or not, the children, they require their balance. Like, I tried to do piano on a Friday. And my 6-year-old daughter is like, dude, can we do this on another day? I don't want to come home after
And
a long week of school.
Yes. And that's it. The answer is yes. I think we live in a world where people, they talk to one ballet school and they're like, these are the days we have available. And they're like, okay, we're either going to make it work or we're not. But that's not the key. There's another ballet studio. I swear there's another ballet class on a day that works for you.
But we're conditioned. I'm so sorry. We're conditioned to take that, what's laid out to us, right? We're conditioned to do it. We're human. Oh, this is what they, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Again, the intentionality. And I think that's probably the story we're headed with today. Is the intentionality at which you're managing your schedule, and the schedule of your kids is awesome. Me, to be completely honest, as a father, as a male in the workplace, I think there's some very different things in the roles that I play versus the roles that you're having to play and you're having to balance. One thing I notice, I think as a society, there's preconceived notions of what a role is supposed to be, and those put pressure
so much
on the roles that we're playing. And so you as a businesswoman and a mom, you have different pressures that I probably can't understand. Can you speak into that a little bit? Help me understand some of those extra pressures and challenges that I know you're facing that I don't understand.
Yeah, and thank you so much for recognizing that, because sometimes when we are in a position of maybe privilege or power, and I hate to say the male privilege, but there are some inherent things that happen with me as a woman that I don't presume it maybe happen to you guys in the same sense. For example, my children get sick. My children have a medical issue or something at school. Who do the parents call? I mean, who does the school call?
Right.
Mama, you got this daddy number.
You can call the dad. Why don't you call dad?
You got his whole number and his whole email. And, so things like that. So usually, I don't know if I can say domestic things, like household things, the woman is but, when there's a decision around the financials and stuff, believe it or not, 2021, it's still the husband who ultimately has that impact into the influence of the decision. So the thing is, I'm a little bit traditional. I'm married to the man who I believe can set structure and stability and a foundation for our home. And yes, it gets on my nerves because I think we've developed a little ego in it, and I got to level set him back. Hold on now. Okay, boo. Yeah. But we choose that partner, you know what I mean, who can kind of set the tone and we trust to lead. And I still respect the integrity of that. And what I have done in terms of balance is I have stopped assuming all of those traditional things. We live in a non-traditional way. Back in the day, the mom was at home, and so obviously she doesn't manage the triple work schedule. I have asked my husband for help. And that may seem foreign. There are things I inherently took on.
Yeah.
The grocery schedules, the planning of the meals, a couple of times last quarter, I had to stop and say, hey, can you take Kieran to class? Or things like that. Yesterday he worked really late, and he ended up, I took my son to martial arts or my children, and he met us there. So that flexibility of those inherent, I guess, gender bias or what we're supposed to do, I just had to let go.
Yeah, and I think that's a key to your balance is, especially in you and your husband both have major roles to play that are impacting this world in amazing ways. You guys, I'm just sitting here thinking about the circle of influence that your family has right now and will have on into the ages, and I'm in awe of what you're able to accomplish together.
You made my day. Thank you.
But I love how you're intentional about not making those assumptions, and I think that's hard for I think it's hard for a woman. I feel it from my wife that sometimes she doesn't feel like she has permission to throw those assumptions out. I want her to ask me to do something that that might be more traditionally assigned to a woman. I don't believe that. I want to help. I don't see it. I think I lack vision in seeing some of those service opportunities that I can give to my wife, and that's an area I can push into and hopefully become better with. But how have you and your husband been so intentional in giving permission to challenge those assumptions?
Well, to your point, first of all, I think it's still societal pressure on women. Mm-hmm. I think we feel like, first of all, you got to be cute every day. And you got to feel good and look good and all that stuff. But then you're supposed to be able to make dinner and do the little Instagram, look what I made, and the cute little pictures with your kids and maintain those jobs. So there's societal pressure amongst ourselves, And it, like you said, you don't even know what you don't even know in terms of sometimes how you guys can help. And look how I'm even tense because I admitted I need help. A lot of women, we won't admit we need help because it's almost like that defeating or a feeling of failure. You know what I mean? So again, it's that being okay. Right. And then my husband every once in a while would be like, you can tell me if you need. Okay. You know what? I do need help. You're right. And it feels good to know he can go pick up things from the grocery store and I don't feel like a failure anymore because look, one day somebody ain't going to eat. Yeah. If I don't let go and let you get the stuff and you don't even, one day it'll all crumble. Yeah. So I think it's not even we're intentional. We had, it's been 11 years. We've been together 8 years with children. So you come to the understanding.
Congratulations,
your actions,
by the way.
Well, thank you. I think your actions, just life makes you this is the new way. So.
Yeah, so intentionality and permission, and I will go ahead and confess from the male side too. I am probably not as good at asking for help when I need help on the masculine typical role. Like my wife has asked me several times, "Hey, Chad, should we get somebody to cut the grass?" And I'm no, I'll get to it. I swear that's my job. I got this. And honestly, there's times I should probably swallow my pride and be like, being able to find the kids out in the yard is more important than waiting on me to cut the grass. So yeah, let's hire somebody to come cut the grass. Or she actually likes cutting the grass. And that's something that I'm like, I'll feel bad if I don't have time to cut the grass. And then she's out there doing it. But again, that's an assumption that should and could be challenged to help me balance my life. And I think that's a great lesson is, man, there's so many assumptions out there that we can challenge and should challenge.
To your point, I feel terrible. I never thought about the male perspective, even with my husband, 11 years, because he's so confident. You guys are so confident. Like, you got it. I know when he needs new pants, for example, and whether he likes it or not, he got new pants and things like that. But to your point, having that empathy, sometimes we get stuck in our own way. So I will be kinder to my husband and ask if he needs help.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Now, another thing I think as we think through our roles that's clearly different between us too is, our race and our color. How does that affect roles that you're filling today? And I think that's probably along the same lines. There's different types of pressures, different assumptions that probably I don't see or understand. So can you speak into that a little bit?
Yeah, that's such a loaded.
It's a hard topic right now.
It is
to even feel safe to talk about. To be completely honest, it's a hard topic to feel safe to talk about, but yet we have to talk about it as a society. So I'm stepping outside of my safety zone, and I'm saying let's do this. Let's have this conversation.
Okay, and to your point, I think. Right. We've been pushed as a society where there was so much discomfort that there's no way out. I can tell you, I feel hopeful. I just am what it is. Our new legacy, our new administration, our new united intention on doing this together. I feel like with 84 million people voting for the new administration, that surpasses those who didn't. And I feel like that number makes me feel hopeful that we're moving in the right place. And I knew we would, you know what I mean? But, I can't lie and say things haven't been hurtful or, checkered. And, even our climb in our roles today. My husband's a biracial man, but he identified, you got a speck of black. We are proud Black folks. But we're proud, good folks. And I feel like as long as we're good and we stay true to wanting to do good in the world, we'll continue to attract that. And I don't say that for some cookie, but I mean it. There are some civic initiatives that we're working on together for the betterment of the African American community and our impact in the overall legislation and society and all that stuff. But, even our climb here, it was just tedious. I mean, it took my husband a traditional path. He would have been hired in right after college. It took him 6 years after college and 4 years on top of that to get in his first agency.
Wow.
All right. Not a game. And he's experienced some things that were kind of unethical at work, and I feel like we definitely walk in paths that, if we weren't African American, we wouldn't have to, but we're here.
Yep.
And so I feel like as long as we're taking action, which we talk about balance, you got all this stuff you want to do, when on earth, and then do a whole civic thing on top of it. I just think you make time for the priorities, and you start to priority shift as you grow in your mission for the overall legacy you want for your life. So
I will say that is one thing that I'm in awe of is, again, just the level at which you and your husband are just giving back in his role, in your roles. This new kind of, as you're talking about some of the civic contributions, I think that's amazing. And I would say I believe we are headed in a good direction as Americans as well. Even just the fact that we can have conversations now, and I'm seeking to understand more and more challenges, and I hope more people are just seeking to understand each other.
Can I ask
and
you?
Each other, yeah.
Because to your point, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this.
No, go for it. Let's do this.
I wasn't uncomfortable with the question, but you having a different lens, how are you?
I'm slightly uncomfortable, to be completely honest, in having the conversations.
I love that you can openly,
But so I think those are the points where you grow, and so I seek to live slightly uncomfortable.
Okay.
So yes, I think it's a challenging question to sit down and have it, and the uncomfortable is, how are people going to perceive this? Am I going to have to balance and find a way to deal with somebody who's going to not respect the conversation I do, and so the fear comes from that side of it. But
okay.
I think I need to challenge that. I need to squash that. I need to live in that uncomfortable space and have the conversations because I want to understand.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't do anything if I don't understand first. And I do want to do something. I want to make sure that Techwood is a place where everybody feels comfortable.
Say that again.
I can't do that if I don't understand. I can't do that if I don't understand how your role is different as a woman, or how your role is different because of your race. And so yeah, I think this is a year for me to seek understanding 100%. And I'm hoping that some of the conversations I have here will help with that. But I also think this is a year for me to have action too, and the actions that I'm trying to have are starting with the roles that I play. So, Techwood, we have already revisited some of our hiring practices to say, hey, how are we opening roles to everybody?
Yeah,
there was a time as a business owner, you hire out of your network.
Yeah,
and that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. I was challenged through some of the conversations I have to look at my network, and my network is regretfully extremely Caucasian. And I unintentionally didn't realize that I'm not talking to people who could be really qualified for the role just because my network isn't as diverse as it should be. So I've started trying to work on my network first and foremost. And then second, I've put into practice that I will not hire anybody straight out of my network. Every single role at Techwood goes online. We take in we take in submissions,
Okay.
and we have a rating system for resumes that then determine who comes into our first round of interview, and that's where I pick up. And so, like I said, in my role as business owner or as CEO,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm trying to put some sort of action in place. And how impactful is it going to be for the world? I don't know.
Oh, it is very impactful.
But my hope is I want to do something. So I want to have conversations. I want to find those moments when I can do something, and start doing something. And that's not just about race, but that's also has to do with female and male and all of this, because that lack of diversity in any one place means you're lacking some great ideas.
Oh, say
And
that
some
again.
great perspective. And what kind of a CEO would I be if I let Techwood lack perspective and great ideas? So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question.
It does, and it's great to hear it from your perspective, because I'll tell you just as a very short parallel is that whereas our agency, we want to help minority businesses and things like that, but that doesn't mean we can only have minorities.
Right.
We
Absolutely.
can't. And I felt like what are we doing? We've got to broaden our scope. That's how we help the world.
100%.
Right?
And,
So
and how do we band together? We're both agency owners, and we're 4 or 5 doors down from each other.
I know. We got to talk.
So yeah, we've got to have conversations. We have to support each other, and I think we'll learn from each other along the way. I'm learning from you right now, and like I said, I think I hope everybody's learning about the intentionality that you guys are placing in your roles, and I hope everybody's getting to a new level of understanding of how assumptions can, or really allowing us to the permission to challenge assumptions.
Yes.
Can really help us balance our lives. And I think let's do that. Let's challenge assumptions of gender roles and race roles and all of those. And I think we should all give each other permission to do that. And I love that you and your husband are intentional in that. I think I need to develop that level of intentionality a little bit more. That's absolutely something that I'm going to take away from this conversation. I do really appreciate your time. Is there anything else, any other tips or thoughts on how you're balancing all of your roles that you'd like to share that we haven't touched on?
You know what? I actually have one quick one.
Yes.
Because, we build our lives 80% structure to allow for that 20% pivot, to not really affect you. But one thing I noticed this year particularly was that when I talk to someone new, my spirit's oddly lifted. And so I made it a pact every day this year I would talk to a new person or someone I haven't talked to in a long time. And I've been writing this list. Obviously, if you stockpile 3 or 4 people in a day, they go in the list. When I'm not feeling balanced or feel a little off, I pull that list out and I remember, or I force myself to be okay with the change because it gives me a chance to talk to somebody new. And I'm not just saying that for some noble thing, but it has changed my moments. So I would recommend, if you're feeling out of balance, keep your non-negotiables for yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Keep those joy days. Don't put your daughter, baby daddy, or anything in your joy days so that you can bring your full self into those other moments. But talk to somebody new every single day. It will make a difference.
I think that's amazing advice. And you're going, because there's going to be a couple things that happen. One, somebody else is going to give you energy. You can't come out of a good conversation not energized about something.
Would you say that again?
And 2, you're going to get some good ideas along that path. Like, I love that. So definitely great advice. And like I said, I definitely am better off because of this conversation. So thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you for having me. I feel so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.